What's going on, everybody? My name is Darian, and of course, here on YouTube, I'm known as the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. My channel focuses on fragrances and fashion. So on this channel, you're going to hear about some amazing fragrances out there. You're going to hear about how you can smell your best every day, how you can look your best every day, because I also throw in some style tips and things of that nature. So if that sounds interesting to you, I invite you to go ahead and click on that subscribe button. And while you're at it, take a quick second to hit the bell icon as well. That way you get notified every time I release a new video. So on today's video, guys, I'm going to be talking about blue fragrances. Now, over the past, I would say 5 years or so, the fragrance world has been inundated with a lot of different companies coming out with their own version or rendition of the blue fragrance. Now, the origins of blue fragrances, you can trace it all the way back to 1988, honestly, with the release of Davidoff's Cool Water. Now, when we talk about blue fragrances, there's a certain quote-unquote DNA that compose or make up most of these what we call blue fragrances. For instance, in a lot of these blue fragrances, there is an aroma chemical used called dihydromercenol that kind of gives these fragrances this very clean, fresh and soapy feel or appeal to those fragrances. There's also synthetic compounds like cologne, which is like spelled C-A-L-O-N-E, cologne, that is used in these fragrances as well. And that's where this kind of salty, watery type of vibe comes from in these fragrances. So a lot of these fragrances follow the same kind of pattern when they compose these fragrances, but of course that whole DNA has been enhanced over the past couple of years with uses of or added notes, I would say, of like fruitier notes, and also of course the new craze using notes like ambroxan in these fragrances to overall enhance the whole blue fragrance DNA. So on today's video, I'm going to be talking about 10 great blue fragrances, because these fragrances tend to be mass appealing fragrances. At the end of the day, most people that wear blue fragrances will tell you there's not many people that they run into that are going to say you smell bad when you're wearing one of these fresh, clean, aquatic fragrances. So I have 10 in my collection that I want to talk to you guys about in order in which I like them. So if you want to hear what those 10 fragrances are, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's go ahead and jump into this video. Before I do that, let me have a quick sip of coffee. Now I'm ready to go. So the first fragrance that I want to talk about today is from the house of Bulgari. This fragrance was released in the year of 2001, and this is Bulgari Bleu pour Homme. Bulgari Bleu pour Homme. Now, I have talked about this fragrance before on this channel. This was one of the first blue fragrances that I took a really liking to back when I really started wearing fragrances. This was released, as I said, in 2001, and this brought a powdery type of appeal to the blue fragrance DNA. I really enjoy this scent. It's a staple in my collection for the spring and summertime. This one is really good in the spring. Another thing I want to say about blue fragrances is they're actually when they are creating these fragrances, there's a lot of marketing and studies that are done. And guys, think about it. Blue is a lot of men's favorite color. So that's taken into consideration as well when folks are trying to come up with that next big fragrance that's going to make a flash in the fragrance community. So that's another thing that they take into consideration, is the fact that most guys' favorite color is blue. So with that being said, guys, this is just a beautiful powdery fragrance. Again, it gives a nice kind of floral vibe to the whole blue DNA. So that was very creative in my opinion. And it's just a magnificent blue scent. So the number 10 spot on this blue fragrance list is this one from the house of Bulgari. This is Bulgari Bleu pour Homme. All right, guys, next up on the list, this fragrance comes from the house of Jimmy Choo. and this is Jimmy Choo Blue Man. Jimmy Choo Blue Man. Now this one gives a more sweet kind of vanilla appeal, but underneath that, of course, is the typical blue DNA. This comes in at the 9th spot because, for me, this one is, like I said, a sweeter fragrance. It's very, very sweet with the vanilla, and also kind of fruity. It has an apple note in this. I think apple is in this, and so, again, where it does, I can definitely pick up and detect the typical blue DNA that we're talking about. It's a little bit on the sweeter side. Not saying that it's bad, but I have some really, really nice fragrances on this list. Of all the ones that I am going to talk about, this is one that you actually could get away with wearing in the fall. I could see you wearing this one in the fall because it has, again, that kind of sweeter undertone to it, but it's a really, really good one. And again, most of these fragrances, something I want to mention as well, most of these fragrances, guys, you can get the majority of these fragrances for under that $50 price point. So that's another thing that's good about these kind of scents. They're signature scent worthy, they're mass appealing, they're crowd pleasers. So these are some good fragrances to pick up. So coming in at the 9th spot, this is Jimmy Choo Man Blue. All right, and coming in at the 8th spot on this list today, this fragrance comes from the house of Coach, and this is Coach Blue. Coach Blue. This one was released in the year of 2020 from the house of Coach. Just like the first two releases, Coach makes these very, very easy to wear, again, crowd pleasing fragrances. Of course, which for a designer house, that's very, very smart to do that, of course. But this one, of course, again, another one with the blue DNA, as the name indicates. What I do like about this one is you get this very aquatic type nature with Coach Blue, but it has this, what they refer to as ozonic notes. And I guess that's what contributes to the whole aquatic vibe in this fragrance. Now, it does have lime, so it has a beautiful lime opening. Very nice woody dry down. I think there's some amber wood and cedar wood on the dry down. But again, easy to wear, mass appealing, crowd pleasing fragrance from the house of Coach. This is Coach Blue. All right, guys, and coming in at the 7th spot on this list, this fragrance was released also in the year of 2020 from the house of Giorgio Armani. This is Acqu Di Gio Profondo. Acqu Di Gio Profondo, released last year, done by the great Alberto Marias, who as a perfumer does, of course, needs no introduction. But guys, this, of course, you have that same aquatic blue DNA that you find in most fragrances. Now, I will say with this one, this is one that also you're going to find musk and patchouli in the dry down. Now, there's another fragrance on this list that I really feel like really kind of spearheaded the whole patchouli thing when they started adding that to the blue DNA. But again, it was a great fragrance released in the year of 2020 by most accounts, one of the best designer releases in a lot of people's opinion in the year of 2020. But again, another fresh, clean aquatic blue fragrance. Again, like I said, all the fragrances on these lists are easy to wear, crowd pleasing fragrances and signature scent worthy. So I would definitely say if you're looking for a signature scent, these are some good fragrances to take a look at. Coming in at the 7th spot from the house of Giorgio Armani, this is Acqu Di Gio Profondo. All right, and coming in at the 6th spot today on this list, this one was also released in the year of 2020. Like I said, everybody's getting in on the whole blue craze. This one is from the house of Polo, and this is Polo Deep Blue Parfum. Polo Deep Blue Parfum. Of all the fragrances on this list, this is probably my favorite bottle. Love the bottle. I am a huge fan of the brand of Polo. But again, same theme here. All these fragrances, to some extent, kind of resemble one another. When you have the same type of aquatic notes and geranium, this one uses the musk and patchouli on the dry down as well, and C notes. They're all gonna kind of give you that same vibe, that same of appeal. So that's what you find with this. Again, nothing groundbreaking, but again, very safe fragrance, very easy to wear, crowd pleasing, mass appealing. Again, that's the theme of this list. So this one, of course, as well as the others on this list, will get the job done. These fragrances will pull the compliments from the house of Polo. This is Polo Deep Blue. All right, and coming in at the 5th spot on today's list, this fragrance was also released in the year of 2020. And this one is from the house of Yves Saint Laurent, and this one is L'Homme Le Parfum. L'Homme Le Parfum. Now this one is really, really good as well. Now honestly, although it was released last year, and typically fragrances from the house of Yves Saint Laurent and some of these bigger fragrance houses like Chanel, Dior, usually you'll hear a little bit more of a buzz about fragrance releases, new fragrance releases from this house, although this one kind of flew under the radar to me in the year of 2020, and I think it could be attributed to the fact that it's a blue fragrance, right? Now you do pick up the original DNA of the original L'Homme, which is a fragrance by all accounts that most people really, really enjoy. The same DNA is there, but they added some of that new blue DNA. Again, most fragrance companies now want to get in on the blue craze, and that's what they did with this release from YSL. I really enjoy this fragrance. When I wear this, I will tell you this, like, again, most of the fragrances on this list, it is a compliment getter. I did get compliments when wearing this fragrance. So they merged the original L'Homme DNA with some blue, with the blue DNA, and they came up with this. So again, it's going to be a mass appealing, easy to wear, compliment getting fragrance, and that's exactly what this is. So if you haven't tried this one out, if you like the original L'Homme, I think you may enjoy this one as well. Again, so coming in at the 5th spot from YSL, this is L'Homme Le Parfum. All right, guys, now coming in at the 4th spot. Now this fragrance and the next fragrance on this list really blew me away because outside of smelling fantastic, they are very, very inexpensive fragrances. The next fragrance on this list comes from the house of Dunhill, and this is Dunhill Desire Blue. Dunhill Desire Blue. This fragrance was released in the year of 2002, and let me tell you what I love about it. When I first sprayed it, I'm not the best sometimes when I initially spray something and it reminds me of something else. Sometimes it takes me a minute to catch on to what it is. So I sprayed it. Honestly, the first spray out of the bottle, it was a little bit off-putting. I don't know, sometimes those first 2-3 initial sprays, guys, sometimes you have to get rid of those because sometimes depending on how it's been stored and in travel and things of that nature, sometimes those first couple sprays can be a little bit tainted. So first spray, I was like, I don't know about this, but gave it a few sprays in the air and then applied it to skin. And I was like, wow, this smells like something. It reminds me of something, and it was something that I really enjoyed. So the more it sat on my skin, it finally came to me. This smells a lot like Bond No. 9's Lafayette Street. A lot like Bond No. 9 Lafayette Street. And I've been talking a lot about how much I love that fragrance. It has that very nice, fresh, fruity vibe in Lafayette Street, and then you have that nice kind of sweet, musky dry down. Same thing with this. It's very fresh. You have the blue kind of aquatic thing going on in the mid, but when it dries down, it has that musk and a little bit of sweetness from tonka bean. Guys, listen, go get this one. Go get this one. I would say blind buy it. You know, I blind bought this one, and it's only, I think I paid $24 for it, maybe $22 for a 3.4 ounce. Go get this one. It's fantastic. Go get it, go get it, go get it. From the house of Dunhill, this is Desire Blue. All right, guys, and coming in at the 3rd spot on this list, this one absolutely blew me away as well, from the house of Salvatore Ferragamo. This is Acqua Essenziale Blue. Acqua Essenziale Blue. Now, I talked about this one on a video that I released earlier in the week, and guys, this fragrance is absolutely fantastic for the price. I'm not going to mention right now what this fragrance smells like because it is going to give away the top 2 fragrances on this list. But honestly, if you combine the top 2 fragrances on this list together, this is pretty much what you get. This fragrance was composed by, of course, Alberto Marias, and it was released in the year of 2014. Guys, I was able to find this fragrance in a box, like a gift set. that came with the aftershave and things of that nature for 21 bucks. By far one of the best fragrance discoveries for me as it relates to designer fragrances in a long time. I am thoroughly impressed with this fragrance. And again, guys, you can find this one for less than 30 bucks. So just like the previous fragrance that I talked about, Dunhill Desire Blue, go get this. Go get this if you like fresh, clean blue fragrances. And if you like the first two fragrances that I'm going to talk about, the 1 and 2 spot on this list, which I'm about to talk about, go get this one from the House of Salvatore Ferragamo. This one is Acqua Essenziale Blue. All right, guys, and coming in at the number 2 spot on this list, this fragrance was released in the year 2016, and this one is from the House of Versace, and this is Dylan Blue. Dylan Blue. I'll never forget when I first got my first whiff of this one right here. I can't remember what I had purchased, but I got a sample of this. And when I sprayed this sample that I had on my hand, I said immediately, I have to have this one. I have to have this one. This was a little bit earlier in my fragrance journey, but I was absolutely encapsulated by this fragrance in the scent DNA. Now, this is something that I found to be very interesting. Now, I talked previously about this fragrance, which is a combination of this fragrance and my number 1. Now, this fragrance was composed by Alberto Marias, but this was released in the year of 2014. This was released in the year of 2016. They are very similar. Now, the difference you get with this one, this Dylan Blue is a little bit deeper. This is a deeper fragrance because it has saffron that kind of gives it that some depth. This leathery, saffron gives all this kind of leathery vibe sometimes in fragrances. But it also has incense and ambroxan. So this one started to capitalize on that ambroxan phase that was started the year before. I want to say by Dior Sauvage. But those 3 notes were added. But these 2 fragrances are very, very similar. So I wonder though which fragrance is copying which, because this one was actually released before this one. But nonetheless, one that I absolutely love. And I put it number 2 on this list because I do like that addition of that ambroxan in this one, as well as the incense and saffron. Love this stuff. A lot of people love this fragrance, and I see why. From the House of Versace, this is Dylan Blue. All right, guys, and coming in at the number 1 spot on this list, this one needs no introduction. From the House of Chanel, this is Bleu de Chanel, and this is the Eau de Parfum. Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum. This one was released in the year of 2014 as well, and this one was done by the legendary Jacques Polch, who created this masterpiece. Now, I used the EDP in this list for a reason. The Parfum, as I've said before, when I compared and analyzed the Bleu de Chanel line, is more woody. You get more woods in that one. This one sticks more in this whole vibe of the blue theme with the aquatics that I've been talking about on this list. So that's why I'm using the EDP. But guys, to me, this is the one that kind of broke the mold and really started to change the game for the whole blue fragrances. The whole DNA of blue fragrances was kind of changed by this one. Now I'm wondering, because this was released in 2014, which one of these were released first between these 2. This one was done by Jacques Polch, and this one was done by Alberto Marias in the year 2014. Now this fragrance is the Salvatore Ferragamo is a combination of these 2 to me. So you pick up a lot of the DNA of Bleu de Chanel. It's probably about a 70% match, 75% match to Bleu de Chanel with sprinkling a little bit of Dylan Blue. And that's why I really love this one so much again. But when you look at the price, when you look at the price that you'll pay for this one, that's where the value really starts to come in. But anyway, this is the one that kind of, like I said, broke the mold. So that's why it's number 1 on the list. This is one of my favorite fragrances. I always have Bleu de Chanel in my collection. And that's why I made number 1 on this list from Chanel. Of course, this is Bleu de Chanel. All right, guys, that's it. That's my time. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video as I talked about some of these mass appealing, crowd pleasing blue fragrances. As always, I appreciate your time and attention to watching these videos because, of course, I know you don't have to watch, man. You could have been doing something else. You could have been anywhere else in the world doing whatever you wanted to do but you took a few moments to watch this video, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because I promise you it is free to do so. And share these videos out to folks that you think could use this information or find me entertaining, because I'm your guy, Darian, the bow tie fragrance guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.